You're watching an episode of Spirits People Live with Johnny Michelson.
There we go. Live Spirits Tuesday. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Rum old fashioned. Fucking legend. So good. Jonathan, what's going on? The Bourbon House in the house. Awesome. And there we have him, Stephen James. Timely, as always. Stephen, what's going on? Ready to rock and roll? Alright, so Spirits Tuesday, Spirits People Live, every Tuesday, 9:30. Today it's Stephen James, aka Rhum_Diaries, the legend himself. Let's see if I can figure out how to add him. Here, Rhum Diaries, fat thumb. There we go. Alright, Stephen, dialing you up. So, let's see what happens. There he is.
Hey man, how's it going?
What's going on?
Yeah, all good, yeah?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
Hanging around the house today, not having to go to London. That's a nice change.
Yep, always. It's been rescheduled for Thursday, so
All right.
yeah, I still have to make the trek, but it's all good.
Yeah. You know, we're gonna have to meet up one of these days when you're down the big smoke.
Yeah, it's they normally end up being whistle-stop journeys, really. About the 7 o'clock train down from Manchester, then off to Farringdon, an entire day in meetings, and then straight back to Euston and back up north again.
Oh, Jesus.
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Well, I'll meet you for a boozy lunch.
Yeah, if I can get away, or either that or bring it into the office.
Yeah, not too bad. I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll bring the booze.
Yeah, excellent. And I'll give you some of the rotten sandwiches that we usually get.
Oh gosh, I'll probably pass on that.
Yeah, I usually do.
Oh my gosh, cool, man. So I'm just gonna wave at people here. I'm trying not to double tap the screen like I usually do and flip the camera. See if that's it's working. It's working. Cool. So, Stephen, we talked together for 4 weeks ago. Was it 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, it would have been 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So, just for people joining in here, so Stephen and I check in like every now and then here on Spirits Tuesday. He's one of the regulars. So we have Stephen popping on probably something like this, like once a month or something like that. We catch up, we see what's happening, what's new in the world of rum, which I know very little about, although I have not a very fancy one, but I am drinking some in the form of an old fashioned.
Yeah, it's I think you'll find that with most of us over in the UK anyway. I think Woods, it's 20 quid a bottle or something like that.
Oh,
it
yeah.
generally forms a consistent bottle on the shelves if you just want to chuck it in a rum and coke, or if you don't fancy too expensive in a cocktail or something. That's what we quite a few of us generally use that kind of stuff. It's been and gone plenty of times at home.
Yeah, it was dirt cheap. And if I'm not mistaken, and I have an announcement to make, and Stephen, you know what it is, because I pinged you a link earlier.
Oh God, yes, I saw that. Yeah.
So I finally got my finger out and managed to get some, not all, but some of the early Spirits People Live videos out. There's recordings from the live sessions here on Instagram. They can now be found on YouTube. They can also be found on spiritspeople.com/live. So there it is, including the first recording I did with you, Stephen. And if I'm not mistaken, something like this was what got you started at 3 years old?
It was, yeah. It was Woods 100, it used to be called. 100 proof being 57% in the and the British Imperial system. I think it was 57.14% was Navy strength or 100 proof. Yeah, that's the one that my granddad used to feed me as a 3-year-old. Yeah.
I was looking through the videos. So I do like little short intros and stuff, and for me to do that, I watched through the old videos. And yeah, I remember you saying that. It's like, yeah, so I grabbed this one, the commemorative bottle for you, Stephen.
Yeah, now you've got to put it in a warm milky coffee and feed it to a 3-year-old, and you'll be fine.
Well, I'll be drinking this whole bottle. I'll be talking like a 3-year-old. That's for sure. It's 57%. Nice. Cool. Yeah. So I think actually last time we talked about the Destino that was being released, and I know you grabbed the bottle. Have you had a chance to dive into it?
I've not opened that one yet. No, I've still got the 70th anniversary version opened. But yeah, it was. I think a lot of the Italian sites sold out pretty rapidly, and then I think a few of us just decided we weren't going to try ridiculously hard to get it. If we get one, we'll get one, but you know there'll just be another thing out soon. I think a few of us have maybe become slightly, I wouldn't say disheartened, but less aggressively searching for things.
Right.
So I think it was going to be, you know, if it falls to us, it falls to us. But I tried the Italian sites without success, and then just happened to be browsing La Maison du Whiskey, and it appeared. So I quickly snapped one up, as they had the sensible option, which was I think 1 bottle per person. Which is the nice way of doing it. Yeah. And then I was on the way back from a meeting in London last week. I was chatting to a guy that we know called Kevin, and who appears at a lot of the rum fests, and he's a good bloke, and we're just chatting away. It was a random chat. I was on the train on the way back from the meeting, just got on there, just using the limited mobile signal, and I noticed that CDM had them in Paris as well, and I know that Kevin had missed out.
All right.
So I quickly gave him a heads up to get on and get one. Unfortunately, he managed to get one, and I also managed to grab a second.
Oh, right. So there you go. So now you have an excuse. Now you can crack it.
I know, exactly. Yeah, I could just share it out. Well, yeah, I managed to get it with an 8% discount as well.
Oh,
because I managed to find a code. So yeah, that was nice.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll no doubt crack those pretty rapid.
That's awesome. Do you have anything in your glass today, Stephen?
Yeah, I went with. Well, it's an early start tomorrow, so I didn't want to go cask strength. But I've gone for the Worthy Park Single Estate Reserve.
Nice.
Said nice, gentle 45%.
Yeah.
So just something to ease me into a Tuesday, is it? Yeah, Tuesday. So I'll lose track. It's not the booze that causes that.
Brilliant. I saw Claire was saying, I was just reading the comments, there's a few here. Claire was saying her dad introduced her to the woods as well. Yeah, it's a popular one. And I actually, I had no idea until this summer, where this was the only kind of non-port wine that they had at a port bar that I was randomly at. So they made me an old-fashioned with this woods rum. And yeah, it was whatever they did is great. I haven't been able to reconstruct the exact measures of how they did it. Maybe they used some special bitters or something, but yeah, I'm still trying. Trying to recreate that moment. Or maybe it was just a nice sunny day, which I can't really recreate right now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's a lot to do with it. Or whatever you'd consumed prior to having the old fashioned probably had a lot to do with
it. Probably.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So what else is new? Are you buying anything else? Are you just getting settled into your 400 or 500 bottles? That's enough.
Yeah, well, I've registered for a few of the whiskey auction sites a couple of months ago. Saw nothing that kind of grabbed my attention, but thought I'd just nip on today to look at the one that the Whiskey Exchange run. I think it's whisky.auction that they use. I remember when we visited, we were fortunate enough to get to their little tasting room at the Elixir House in, I think it's northwest London. It's kind of what appears to be a little office attached to an industrial unit.
Okay.
In the middle of a business park, the most unassuming place. And we went in there, got an invite to go and see Sakinda and to get up to the private, get to the bar. And then he was generous enough to put food on for everyone, just to soak up a bit of the booze. And then we ended up in the private bar upstairs, which was just mental, the stuff that he had there. And to get to the bar, you kind of walk through this little storage area where they keep all of the whiskey auction bottles.
All right.
And so all the stuff that people have sent to be put up for auction. And walking through there, and some of them were ridiculous. Some of the bottles that he had there for sale. So I just thought, I'll go on and give it a try. See how much I'm prepared to pay for something, or how much I'm prepared to branch out and buy something that's, I don't know, maybe an old bottle, or a bottle of something I've not heard of that's maybe bottled in the 80s or the 70s, just to give it a go. And seemingly, I'm not really prepared to pay more than 40 quid for something. So I went on, I was trying to bid. I've got an addiction, a kind of an addiction to Myers, which is unbelievably cheap, relatively nasty blend of Jamaican rum full of molasses. But it just works really well with Coke. And you can just fire it into a quick milk punch or something, and it works quite well.
Yeah.
But so I was looking for a bottle of that because I know that I'd tried one previously, and it was like, I think it was, that one was bottled in the 60s, and it was a completely different beast. So I thought I'll see what I can find. Found some that were bottled in the 70s, some that were bottled in the 80s. Seemingly I'm not prepared to pay more than 40 quid for a bottle. So, I'd like to try it, but, I'm a little bit too tight to branch out.
Yeah,
I think I was spending that much money. There was a few single cask rum JMs there. Yep. I think I would have branched out with those, but I was bidding on a couple of bottles of Myers, and I also found a Mount Gay Eclipse, which is something I don't normally. It's pretty insipid, watery stuff, really, as an entry range. Apparently, it's even worse in the States. It's predominantly column. But in Barbados, 43%, higher pot still content. It's a beautiful rum. Okay. And this was something that was bottled in Barbados, and it was for the Barbados market. It's like 1.14 litres of, which seems like a bit of a random number, but 1.14 litres of the rum, 43%. I think it was bottled in the 90s. But when prices start shooting above 60 quid, I'm just like, meh. Because if you think fees, maybe 15% plus VAT on top of that.
Yeah.
It's an expensive bottle of cheap rum. So, I found out that I'm clearly not that interested in tasting old bottles of rum.
Well, not that you're not interested, but I get that. I try to stay away from auction sites, but I just, once you get in there, I have a hard time setting a maximum because, like, it's like a gambling thing. Yeah. It's like, it's too dangerous for me. So I'm staying away. But it's very tempting because, like, I see those bottles, and a lot of my friends are like super into that, and they're like lists and lists of all the stuff they're bidding on. It's like, I've set this max, and as soon as it's above the max, it's like, I'm out. It's like, I can't do that. Like, as a max, but it's only 5 pounds more. It's only 10 pounds more. It's like,
Yeah, it gets you, doesn't it? It's like a game.
It does,
That's why I had to keep away from eBay about 10 years ago. So I just stay away from eBay.
Oh, God, you can buy so much stuff on eBay. It's crazy.
It is. Loads of stuff that you don't need at a price you can afford.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. Oh, God.
All right. Oh, we have Jazz is here. So I don't know if you follow tonight's voice in here. I was just listening to there's a podcast called Here in Spirit. We should get you on this, Stephen, because you will do great.
Oh, God.
It's just talking about it's a guy who just reaches out to people who are in the spirits kind of community, online communities, like, and just have a chat, like similar to this, but it's like it's a proper podcast. Whereas this here is a little bit more, I don't know, 5 a.m. radio.
This is the unedited version.
Yeah, this is the raw edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should get you on that. That would be awesome. You do good.
Yeah. Well, you know me, I can just chat for half an hour about nothing with no problem.
Dude, it would be like a 5-hour episode.
Gets longer just as you drink a little bit more.
All right, cool. Yeah, so actually, like, again, like thinking about just the first video that you and I did that you can now find on YouTube and on spiritspeople.com. We did talk about in that video the different categories, and I remember we talked about like what was his name?
Luca Gargano.
Luca, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the different categories by production, but there's some other stuff. Like there's like overproof. There's old. Like this one here has Old Navy on it. Like there's like a bunch of different like Navy strength and like whatever, all of those like categories. Like I have no idea what this means. I think you said something like Old Navy strength is like the old 100 proof. Is that?
Yeah, well, you'd see that like Navy strength would be 57.14, I think it is.
Okay.
Percent. But yeah, I mean, half of the stuff with categorization is it's a rabbit hole. You go down there and it's like, well, if you categorize an old Navy rum, do you categorize young Navy rum or moderately aged Navy rum? It's where do you stop?
This is like
exactly where you
color, right?
Yeah, where you class lightly aged Navy rum with a cup and a half of caramel in there.
Yeah, it's like because I was making I make the old fashioned with maple syrup. I had them next to each other. They literally had the same color.
Same color, yeah. Well, I've just noticed a comment pop up from John Leaney. Bumbu, is that a category? It is a category all of its own. It's utter shite. That's its category. Bumbu, it's horrific. It's got a beautiful heavy glass bottle with gold skull and crossbones on it. I think it's got marketed by a rapper. I mean, obviously you can tell I'm well into my music. But it's horrific. It's just it's a mess. But they claim it's like a craft spirit small batch 15-year-old that then they go and chuck a load of spices and sugar in. It's not representative of anything other than something a child would drink. It doesn't even cost as rum either. It's 35%. And even if it was 40%, it wouldn't cost us rum. It's just horrific. But it's an easy target. That's right. The thing. It's the one that we all pick on because it's a massively easy target for. It's the poster boy as well as things like Zacapa and stuff like that. It's the poster boy for adulterated rum that isn't really rum. But there are far more things that get an easy pass from people that. Or I know that people, I mean, I drink them myself, things like, some of the El Dorado range, the 12, the 15, they're full of crap. That's half the problem. It's like, but we get an easy pass. We then start categorizing things and saying, well, Bumbu is complete nonsense in a bottle and the distillate's probably really poor. Then you start looking at El Dorado and there's some people that make the case for the fact that, well, the distillates are actually, at least it's got a sound distillate at its base before they start adding the sugar in. And I'm like, well, if it's a sound distillate at the base, why are you adding the sugar in there? If you're not putting your best work in the bottle without messing with it, then you should improve your best work.
Yeah.
I think that it's got to be it's a hardline zero tolerance policy that we're trying to run on the UK Rum Club.
Yeah.
And I think we're one of the few groups that do kind of look at that. I know they get serious about it in Europe, and there are quite a few sites and few places that do run the kind of the hardline approach. But it's like you either like the spirit and respect the spirit, or you don't. And I think if you like the spirit and you respect the spirit, you don't mess with it. And I think that's the way you've got to approach it. And it's, it is a serious business for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking of the fact that, you are producing a spirit in a location that maybe doesn't allow you to add anything, and you don't want to add anything, yet someone else is adding things because their location allows it, you're competing with the lowest common denominator. So people like sweet things, so people go for the sweet things. So if you're producing a well-crafted product and then you're having to compete with 20 quid a bottle nonsense,
yeah,
there's only one person that's going to lose out, and and that's going to be the person who's producing it properly.
Yeah.
And it's different.
Drives the price up for the good stuff, which then hurts again, like the people who actually care about it.
Yeah, I mean, rum is for what you can buy in certain bottles, and I know people complain that things are quite expensive, but we get away lightly in the rum world in terms of what we pay for a rum. 14 years tropical age Destino. So that's the equivalent, I suppose, if you're talking time, that's the equivalent of 25, 30-year-old continental Europe or Scottish maturation, in terms of what you would lose and the interaction with the barrel. And I think it's, if you're paying, I don't know, 300-400 quid for a 30-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey, why should you not pay 160 euros for something that's spent 14 years in a barrel in Jamaica or Barbados?
Yeah.
You lose far more product than you would lose in Scotland. So, I mean,
I kind of like you, Stephen. You only want to pay £40.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. But no, I mean, I think it's a discussion that I think we kind of let a lot slip, or we have in the past in terms of additions and things. But I think it's got to come to a point where you just say no. It's all just nonsense.
Yeah.
It's either give me your best work that doesn't need to be messed with, or try again.
Yeah.
I think
there's a lot of preach and thumbs up here in the comments.
Oh God, I have become militant. No, there's going to be two gangs when I get out of the house in the morning. There's going to be the pitchforks and burning torches, and then there's just going to be three people to the left-hand side giving me a little round of applause.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It makes a mockery of the category sometimes when you look at certain things like that. It's not good. But anyway,
Bourbon House here saying, do you rate Dead Man's Fingers or Dead Man's Finger?
Yeah. Oh God. I hope they're the same thing. I've never had a Dead Man's Finger.
I hope this is a rum.
Yeah, it's a spice rum, so it's heavily vanilla red. So yeah, chuck it in some Coke. At least it puts on the bottle it's a spice rum. But yeah, that's the other thing with spice rums as well. Everyone goes for the vanilla option. Fill it full of vanilla and make it taste really sweet.
Yeah. There
are things you can do where you don't need to. Bristol black spiced. There's a decent distillate, decent spices. Granted, it's full of colour, but it's a decent spice rum for about 30, 40 quid.
Mm.
They are out there. There are spice rums that I'd happily drink.
Yeah.
Not too many, but yeah. You don't want cast strength every day, do you?
I don't know.
Or do you?
Wouldn't mind, not for breakfast maybe, but like later in the day, like after 11.
yeah, or maybe 10:30.
Yeah. It's funny with the sweet and stuff, because like the more tastings I do, and the more kind of like I get into like really detailed tasting notes and stuff. Like whenever I nose, I've started to split in the first half of like nosing anything by first attempting to split out all the sweet notes, because that's literally, you get all that stuff up front. If you can just isolate that, it's easier to go in for a second and then determine what lies underneath. Because like the sweet is always going to like trigger your brain as the first thing, which is why we're so addicted to it. Because it's like, that's what we want to extract from everything. Yeah. So I find that like when you do, and this like for rum and whiskey and whatever you're drinking and trying to experience, like all of those sweet notes, like your vanillas, your caramels, and like whatever comes out, like molasses and some of these like weird sugary rums, like you're always going to get that first. But then underneath, there's going to be other stuff that you can discover. But you have to kind of register that first, accept that, okay, that's molasses.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, now I can move deeper. So there's something that's hardwired into humans with those kind of sweet notes, like sugary notes. It's the way it is.
Yeah, it is. Where did it all go wrong?
Oh God, I don't know.
Yeah, but you see, yeah. But then you go for certain things. I mean, I've picked up one tonight because it's easy going, 45%.
Yeah,
but it's a good quality product. Really nice, sweet notes. Nice, trademark Worthy Park banana. Black tea, kind of like a spice bun kind of notes with it. They produce good stuff. I mean, there've been a couple of, I think it's shades of how good with Worthy Park. It's not, I've had a really bad Worthy Park, I've had a really good Worthy Park. I think it's shades of quality with them. Because I think, you got to remember, they started, I think it was like 1670, the sugar plantation. So their cellar, and I think rum production, they may be celebrating a few hundred years this year. Or is it 300? Oh, God. But,
if it's 1600.
Yeah, well, no, I think in 2020, I think they've got an anniversary coming up. But you look at the stuff that they did; they were pretty much producing from when they started till around I think it was the 50s or 60s, and then it completely shut down operations, and then picked it up in 2005. And the plantations probably, I think it's been in maybe 2 or 3 owners' hands. I think Gordon Clark, who now owns it, his family can be traced in terms of ownership for a damn good while.
Okay.
So it picked up again in 2005. Kind of, I think they ditched the old facility and wanted to introduce a more modern facility in there.
Okay.
But they've never stopped the sugar production. It was only the rum production that stopped. And yeah, it's just shades of good and great with Worthy Park.
Right. Do you think they're trying to find some consistency in their new distillery then, in the new location? Is there any kind of correlation with that, or is it just like it's the individual?
It's just consistently good. They've got some really good marks that they create. They don't use Donder, but they do have elements of wild fermentation in there, and they've got the open vats and then the covered vats.
Okay. And
it's the different marks that they produce. I think there's a WPEL, WPL, WPM, WPH, and WPE. So that's Worthy Park Extra Light, so kind of low ester levels. WPL, Worthy Park Light, which is their most commonly aged distillate. There's WPM, which has kind of got a medium ester range. That was the Habitation Valley 2006, was the WPM. I still rate it as probably the best Worthy Park I've tried. It's a killer bottle. But then the WPE and WPH, like the heavy, I think I've never tried those. I've never seen those marks as out in the wild. So whether they have something special planned, I don't know. But I know that I think it's this year they're releasing a 12-year-old cask strength under their own distillery name, and that's, I think, is part of the. It's a weird one for Worthy Park, I think. I'm sorry, I'm rambling again. But it's a weird one for Worthy Park because you get the independent bottlers. I don't know if it's more prominent in the rum world, or because I know I've seen there's quite a lot of non-distiller producers in the bourbon world. Yep. So you have kind of like big places that produce the spirit. Yeah, it will be matured at someone's facility, but they don't necessarily distill. So you'll still perhaps get the characteristics of the location without kind of like the necessary production methods on site.
Okay.
But I think with the independent bottlers, Worthy Park sold to independent bottlers when they started up again in 2005. And I think initially they were allowing them to use the Worthy Park name. So I've had Bristol bottlings that have been Worthy Park, Cadenheads that have named Worthy Park on there. It went through a phase where Worthy Park was named. And then it kind of, the last one that I'm aware of was, it was I would say probably for me a failed attempt by Bacardi to get them to get. Well, seriously, they went travel retail with it to start with, and it was their single cane releases, so single cane estate.
Just one cane.
Yeah, exactly, just the one. They had it. Like I say, it's one of those things where you think they think of the marketing before they think of what they're going to put in the bottle.
Yeah.
But they like the term, so they just think, what the hell, stick with it. But they released a Worthy Park, and it was named as a Worthy Park. And I think they bought from, with tropical maturation, bottled it, and they messed with it. So it dulled it. It takes some certain things. Everyone says, well, it's like adding salt and pepper to a dish. It accentuates it. And whilst it can add, something to a dish, if you're cooking a steak or making a spaghetti bolognese, this ain't a spaghetti bolognese, this is rum. And too much salt or too much pepper can ruin it and can dull it. And I think that's what happens. There are certain distillates and certain producers that don't need, well, nobody needs stuff added. They just need to try harder. But the problem for the Worthy Park one is I think it's a double-edged sword, because you get the name for the distillery out there. I certainly wouldn't have heard of Worthy Park without independent bottlers. I would have never heard the distillery. But then they get one thing that ruins it for the rest of them. And I personally think it was maybe that Bacardi failed attempt, and also the fact that because they then wanted to use their own distillery name for these releases, the one that's in the glass, I think they then kind of pushed back and said, we don't want you to use the distillery name. So things become Forsyths, and things become Louis Vale, or things become it's from a distillery in St. Catherine. And it's that kind of thing. So you know what you're looking at when you see that on a bottle.
Yeah.
You know it's Worthy Park. There are not 50 distilleries in Jamaica anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's equally cursed and blessed. You're blessed with the fact that by allowing the name to be used, you get the name out there, and you're cursed because if somebody does drop an almighty bollock with it and completely knacker up one of your products, your name's on that product still. So, and you didn't have the choice because you'd already sold the bulk rum. And that's the thing. They obviously didn't have a say in how that product gets butchered at the end, which is a bit of an issue. But they're strong. They're definitely in the ascendancy. Worthy Park, Hampden, Foursquare, all the interesting things coming out of Reunion, French West Indies. It's great. So some interesting stuff on the market now. They've got the new Eldorado Albion and Skeldon releases.
Right. So outside of the age stated range.
Yeah, they're kind of their own rare cask ranges. I mean, Albion and Skeldon are kind of really old marks from old distilleries. I've tried Skeldon 73 and 78. And they were beautiful things. But obviously what you're dealing with now is utilising the stills potentially that were in place at those distilleries to produce a product that would replicate that product.
Yeah.
I've not tried them, but I've fortunately got a very generous friend that owns a shop in Holland, and he has 2 open bottles, so he'll be sending me a drop of each for a bit of a thing. I get to try them at least.
Nice.
Without having to spend €300 a bottle.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's more than £40.
Definitely. Definitely.
All right, cool. I think we're past the half hour. These are meant to be like shorter versions, but like tradition be true, like we add 10 minutes when it's Stephen. We do have to get to one thing, because every Tuesday we do this. We give away one of these bags. So this is the Spirits Tuesday # free giveaway every week. So the Spirits People tote bag. We have to find a winner.
Indeed.
So while I get up and running here, what are you guys doing anything for Valentine's Day?
Not on the day. It's the meeting in London, so I
that's right.
I leave the house at 6 a.m. get in at 7:30 in the evening.
Oh,
so I don't know. I would imagine, a 14-hour period without my company is probably the best Valentine's Day present for my life.
That's
Yeah, my gift to you is absence. But no, I just said, we'll, I don't know, a few drinks and chuck a meal together on Saturday, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been married for 9.5 years now, so these things don't matter anymore.
Well, you say that. They do matter. They do matter.
I hope she's not watching.
All right, so we have 31 in the lineup here, and you know what that means. So a number between 2 and 31 for this week's winner of Spirits Tuesday. Here's the list. It's going to be mirrored until you can see this on the replay on YouTube. This is going to look all nonsense, but trust me, there's 31 items in it. Of course, actually, there's 30. Our system is super flawed, and I still have not spent any time on trying to fix it. So yeah, it's just flawed. So Stephen, if you will, between 2 and 31.
Well, in honor of the Worthy Part 12-year-old cast strength coming out this year, number 12.
All right, let's get to it. So I'm gonna hit the randomizer right here. Boom, and then let's find number 12. Oh, and she is right here, Claire.
Hey.
Yes. Claire Scott. Congratulations.
Winner.
The winner. Amazing, amazing. Let's see if she's still here. She could have just jumped off.
She got bored of me talking.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, this guy never shuts up.
I'll come back in 10 minutes when he's finished.
Yeah. Oh, she is here. Claire, congratulations.
Awesome.
Where's I have the bag. So this bag will not be shipped to you immediately because it is in back order, I've been told. So hopefully in a couple of weeks, I'll be sending this to you. And yeah, looking forward to seeing that on the gram. Yeah. My old fashioned is almost done. It's time for another. Solid. Cool, man. I'm going to have one of these. My wife brought me one of these. This is my pre-Valentine's gift. Valentine's Day is my birthday, so this is my birthday gift. I'll be having one of those and an old-fashioned.
Excellent.
Cool. All right. Cool, man. Thanks for hopping on again.
Good thanks for asking.
Always good to have a chat.
Yeah, I will try to apply structure next time. I'm sure
structure is gonna kill the mood. We don't want that. Save the structure for the podcast. We'll get you on the podcast.
Oh God! Yeah. 6 hours worth of footage to be edited.
The guy's gonna rip his hair out. Like,
yeah, just me in the corner saying, "Yeah, and another thing, and another thing."
Oh my gosh. All right, cool. Thanks everyone for checking in, and Stephen, again, thanks for hopping on. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed their Spirits Tuesday. And Claire, awesome. Congratulations, this week's winner.
Yeah. Well done, Claire.
Well done. Well done.
Cool.
Peace out, guys.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Spirits People Live. For more videos, check out spiritspeople.com, subscribe on YouTube, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, where we connect you with spirits people worldwide.